Hey everybody, and welcome to a very special Wild Ride with Steve-O. What can I say? We're on a roll. Big stars on the show. And this episode, we're giving you a little glimpse into what happens before the show starts. Yeah, dude. Check it out.
Yo, what up?
Yeah, dude. Fucking right on fucking time like a bro. So killer, man.
Man, hey, I keep a schedule, man. I'm a professional.
Hell yeah, dude. Us too.
Where are you at, man? Where are you in like a RV studio?
That's right, dude. We do it in an RV. Oh yeah, what color do we want to give you?
Give me some red, man.
Yeah,
what do you got?
dude, I got you, man.
Let me match that bandana, man.
I'm concealing some.
There we go.
All right, dude. Let's not waste anybody's time over here. We'll dive right in. You ready? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. This is how we do it. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Dyrdek. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, thank you for joining us. I don't know if you've ever met my co-host, Scott Randolph.
How's it going?
And up front.
Scott, good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Up front in the RV, we've got Paul Brisky.
Hey, Rob, how are you?
Yo, what's up, Paul?
What's going on?
I roll with hot dudes, man. What can I say?
I would expect nothing less.
Hell yeah, dude. So, dude, thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, can I bring up the subject of breaking your ankle real quick?
Sure.
Like, I just want you to know that Ken Block tried to get me to like stand on a ladder and let him slide through and have me like jump off. And I got there and I'm like, I'm not fucking breaking an ankle over this shit.
Yeah.
And like, he was so bummed, had the whole thing set up and I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then fast forward where you fucking grab a board and are fucking gonna boneless through a fucking car.
Well,
it still blows my mind that you did so many clean ones. And then got the wonky fall one that got it, but it reminds me of why I'm glad I also never did it.
For sure, dude. For people who maybe don't know what Rob's talking about, my idea was to stand on a wooden outhouse. I think it was fucking a full 8 feet tall. And I think initially it was just I was going to be on the outhouse and our boy Danny Wade drove a car crashing through it with me on the roof and it would just drop me to the ground. I did it with just sitting on it at one point. Fucking fell down. I was like, dude, fuck that. I got this, dude. I'm going to fucking jump a skateboard off the boat while the car crashes through the porta potty. Did it a bunch of times. We went through like 3 or 4 porta potties. And then we were down to the last one. And I was like, fucking A, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to fucking stick this landing. And I wasn't even on the board, but I thought I was. And I just fought to fucking stick the landing. And all I did was just shatter my ankle.
Oh, man.
It's too tall.
It's still hard for me to even just anytime you see that foot just cocked off,
L-shaped.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's the worst thing to see, man.
You know what? I think that like generally people have a pretty easy time looking at their own injuries, but more difficult time looking at like really gruesome injuries of others. Or do I have that wrong?
But I'm saying that skateboard injuries are tougher for me because it's like way more in like where the things could happen to me, like
closer
something
to
that's in my line of fire. That's more spooky to me to look at than something that's just kind of, even though full scarred level bone breaks, we don't put them on ridiculousness, right? Like even if you do shatter something, you can't tell, right? Like, cause it's like anytime you see that snap, it's just a little bit too. It loses its fun, you know.
Right. And you know, for all the pro skateboarders and action sports stars that we've had on here, we've generally made a point to ask about their surgeries. They're like, have you just where are you between Tony Hawk and Danny Way?
Well, look, here's the thing about Danny Way. He loves surgery. Okay. Like, Danny Way fucking goes under local anesthesia and talks through the fucking surgery with the doctors. You know what I mean? Like, to him, he's like, oh, I got injured again. Let's do surgery. It's a fucking entirely different experience. You know, I only had in my entire career, and this is through 20 years of professional skateboarding and all the years of Fantasy Factory and doing all the crazy stunts, The only thing I ever had surgery on was to remove a bone spur in my ankle. Like never, only broke one arm and broke a couple fingers, but never once had any significant injuries by the grace of God.
Yeah.
In that entire, 25-year run.
Yeah, you and Tony Hawk, man, that's great, dude.
So look, man, Tony will slam like every year and a half in some crazy way, and every like he just did one recently where he like knocked himself out like trying some trick on like the vert ramp. It's like, and as I get older and he gets older and I see these once in a blue moon mega slams, they hurt even worse when I see him.
Yeah.
Doing,
Dude, I did this double wall ride with Tony not long ago. We pushed 2 ramps up against the wall with 1 landing ramp. He had the bigger one, so simultaneously we did the wall. He wall ride over my wall ride. That makes sense. And fuck, dude, he slammed so hard on that one, dude.
Oh,
I was like, I killed Tony Hawk,
maybe that's
man.
the one that I saw.
Yeah, it might have been.
I was blown away that you were able to wall ride so easily.
Well, thanks, man.
Because running up full vertical wall is still, real
thanks,
deal,
dude. I pride myself. Oh shit, I never hit the fucking timeout, whatever, dude. I got this cool clock to time our fucking.
You're just
shit.
Talking about it too.
I know.
Yeah, when Tony slammed, dude, he was fucked up when you're just tapping your foot on the ground.
Oh my god, his foot
quiet.
starts twitching. He's not getting up, dude. It was the worst. But yeah, dude. So you said 25 years. I mean,
So you started when you were how old? 16?
I turned pro when I was 16. So then
41.
But I kind of blended that pro career into, the TV side. You know what I mean? Where then I started selling so much more product and skating less. But had more and more skate shit because of the TV profile.
Sure, and my very first sponsor was XYZ Clothing, and I like one of your first sponsors was XYZ Skate Supply, which was the same thing, right?
Yeah, that was before that was when it was like Tommy and Danny's like side hustle,
skate shop,
garage.
Yeah, and I think
startup.
Even like your era, I want to say that was pretty close to the face catching on fire era, right? Like
sure,
like right after that zone, and you just connected with the Tommy's like almost like a Jeff Tremaine almost, right? Where like he's the together smart guy, but almost like the instigator too,
totally.
Right? And I knew like that sort of world is where it all started, because even when I started coming out to California from Ohio, I would go and stay in Carlsbad, and that's really how I got to know Danny and those guys back then. But Danny was so much different back then, you know what I mean? Like back then, like you couldn't even talk to him, you know what I mean? Like he would fucking walk into the man, I remember I was already on DC for and had like 2 signature shoes, and he had barely even started talking to me back then. and for as he evolved and had kids and became one of my really good friends, but back then, man, it was like super Danny, like megalomaniac, crazy Danny, and that especially in the XYZ era.
But weren't you there in 1997 when he first set the high air record? Like, he jumped out of the helicopter?
I went to every single one of them, right? So I got to go, I went, to Hard Rock to jump off the guitar. I went to China to jump the Great Wall. I was there for the very first high air. We went and we had a lunch in a cafeteria, and he mentioned something about a helicopter. And I said, well, I don't understand what you're saying, though. He's like, no, I'm going to jump off the helicopter into the ramp. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it made no sense to me. Yeah, and then next thing you know, lunch is over, and fucking everybody's like, and he's fucking hanging off the edge of the fucking helicopter to jump in. It's like, I've always been mind blown, because I feel like him, Laird, and Travis Pastrana all have this like weird malfunction to where they don't connect with fear. They connect with execution. So like they're only thinking about, God, how amazing would it be to jump off this helicopter versus like and only thinking about execution, where anytime I've ever done anything dangerous, it's like all I'm thinking about is like, fuck, the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing this shit? All right, let's just fucking get it done, right? Like,
hell yeah.
Which I know you know. I know you've been put in worst situations.
Of course. We've been talking about Tommy, who started XYZ, which was integral in our early careers. And Tommy says that back in the day when you were part of the XYZ skate supply thing, he says, dude, back then Dyrdek was a Daryl, dude, just drunk and smoking weed and shit. And and then it wasn't until you went to this
Dr. Pratt.
Dr. Pratt, who was a hypnotist. That hypnotist is something else, man. Rob credits this person with making him a business assassin. And I gotta tell you what and who I credit for making me a fitness assassin. It's called Whoop, right? This fitness tracker I wear on my right wrist. It connects with this app, which gives me helpful information like I'm working on 97% recovery right now. What does that mean? It means I better get on my bicycle and do some kind of serious workout, even though I'm recovering from a couple injuries, like 2 plates in my shoulder and this thing that happened to my hip. Look, I'm a mess, okay? But my Whoop band's telling me it's time to work out because I have strong recovery, man. And that's what this is all about, dude. This thing tells you when you sleep, how much you sleep, what kind of sleep you get, how much your body recovers, how much strain you should be taking on. And then when you do take on strain, man, I go surfing, I don't even have to put anything in the app. It's like, oh yeah, you went surfing. Boom, it logs my activity. I get on my bicycle, it knows you went cycling. It tells me how my workout went. Keeps me motivated to keep going. And that's why at the back end of my 40s, I'm looking good, feeling good, and I want you to look better and feel better yourself. So you're going to go to whoop.com. Use the promo code STEVO. You get 15% off at checkout. Once again, for your Whoop membership, you're going to get 15% off if you go to whoop.com and use the promo code STEVO. Yeah, dude.
I would probably put it in, I got so much success early, right? Turned pro quickly, got everything. We're moved to Cali, DC happened, all this stuff. But I also just partied so much, right? Like not like, deep, heavy Steve-O level days, right? But like, I was burning away the career. But what I ultimately burned away with that was like self-belief. Right? Like I really then ended up like questioning myself and like, could I even still be pro? And do I even what is my life going to be like? What if I'm not a pro skateboarder anymore? Right? Which was hammered by Ken Block saying, when I was 24 that like, we think your best years are behind you and we're going to give you one more 2-year contract before you retire. Right. So it was just like, I just partied my way into fucking being retired. And I went to George Pratt on this idea of, he wrote this book, Hyper Success. And he was a hypnotist. And this is back in the phone book days. I was just looking through the fucking phone book because there was no fucking internet of like, oh, clinical psychologist, like hypnotist. Right. I'm like, oh, this is at La Jolla Scripts. This is legit. And the first test he did on me was like, you don't believe you were meant, your subconscious doesn't believe you were meant to be successful. And then lo and behold, we did a handful of sessions and I've never taken a step backwards, never again in my life. Right. And maybe I was ready. Maybe that was my moment in time. Like, and I was ready to like find and regroup, but I had since, took all my friends there. I take my wife there. I just celebrated my 5th year wedding anniversary and did a full wedding. And he did the ceremony.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like that's, all these years later, I still look at him as this sort of, at least integral piece of just, being this conduit that took me to this entirely other level.
Dude, epic, man. Do you keep going back to refresh with him, like, or you're still rocking off that initial?
You know, I don't. All like, you know, I said, you know, I saw him not that long ago. I said, I just want to like verify that my subconscious believes I'm going to be a billionaire. And he's like, you know, does some like magic. He's like, stop. You already know that. Anyway, how you been? Stop. But, you know, for me, I also have done so much deep work on my subconscious and basically clearing out so much aspect that I live in this like super, super sharp presence with like super clear long-term goals. So I end up in sort of this like this state where I don't really question much and sort of attract all of the things that I need to perpetuate me towards those long-term goals. So it worked.
Hell yeah,
But
dude.
where'd you get the sense enough to look for a hypnotist? Like when Ken Block told you, you know, you're going to retire, like what made you go through the phone book and be like, I think a hypnotist is what I need right now?
I don't, that's a really very valid and straightforward, normal question, right? Like, what the fuck? Well, and when you say it to me, I'm like, well, God damn it, what was the strategy? I know I'm fucking up. I need someone to hypnotize me to not fuck up. You know, I don't know.
That's some Daryl shit.
I went to a hypnotist to stop biting my nails, and it worked for a week, and then I haven't been able to stop biting my nails for the last 20 years. So I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. Look, two different stories. You went to
the wrong hypnotist, dude. So going back to then, you know, you see Dr. Pratt, and then like what year was it you saw Dr. Pratt, you think?
Well, fuck, if I was 25, so that was 21 years ago, right? So, or maybe 24, so 22 years ago. So, you know, like late 90s, right?
Yeah,
97,
okay.
98.
Took a huge
right?
bong
Because
load
back
of Pratt.
then, you know, I had hip hop labels and, you know, skate. I was doing all types of businesses and all types of stuff. And it also, I refocused on my skate career only.
Oh, dude.
And then, like, you know, and I told Ken Block in that meeting, I said, look, in 2 years, I will be a completely different person. And at the end of that 2 years, I was like top 10 in the world in every single contest. Like, I grinded the 20-stair handrail for the MTV commercial. Like, I had just, like, literally rededicated my life to skateboarding, and then, like, completely like re-engineered, completely invigorated my career. Then I would only sign 2-year deals, right? And I said, because every 2 years I'm going to be even bigger and better. And that led to then Robbin' Big, then only a 2-year deal. And then Fantasy Factory, only a 2-year deal. Like I did all of that till I finally signed a 10-year deal. And then they went out of business.
Yeah. So now like, this is just, I love that you say that, because I'm placing where you saw Dr. Pratt in 1998, and then 2 years after that you said, and then you had it together. That's year 2000. Year 2000 was when I worked in the circus, but right before I worked in the circus, I went out to fucking Tampa, the Tampa Pro Contest. And I went out there on some harebrained idea. I'm going to set myself on fire in the middle of the street course, which I totally did. And while I was there, that whole pro contest, this is the most prestigious, biggest profile skateboard contest put on by skaters in the world, the biggest event of the year. And Rob Dyrdek, you dominated that. For the whole fucking time, they were just like, first place qualifier, fucking just killing it all over the place, man. Like, I've never seen anybody dominate a contest the way you dominated that Tampa Pro. And I mean, it's all anybody was talking about. Fucking badass. And
look, and Tampa's like, you know, it's this dirty Schaefer and the homies and the shitty, dirty fucking, it's
the
muddy strip and fucking.
All the pros start throwing the fucking skateboards and the product into the muddy moat to watch all the fucking little kids wrestle in the mud to get the fucking product.
It just never met, like, it always was what mattered the most. And the most, you know, like, even though it had the lowest prize money, And like at least it was still like the fucking thing that mattered the most. Because even we shot a Robin Big episode, and it was a battle of me and Steve Barra for 5 G's on who could do the most. And I hadn't entered a contest in, probably 6 or 7 years when we shot that, right?
What was that? Who could do what?
It was whoever placed. It was a $5,000 bet of whoever placed higher.
Okay.
Right? And then in that episode, and what I did is I watched the amateur contest. I watched their runs over and over, and I would go to the park and just try my run based off of until my body would break down. Then I would go home. I just did it. I hadn't skated a contest in literally 6 or 7 years, and then just did that same run all the way through and got like 6th place. It was like, after not being at it for all those years. And it's like the highlight of my skateboard career. You know what I mean? Of just being able to like make the top 10 after all the years of not even skating in a contest.
Right, yeah. Plus, Steve Barra is a dangerous guy to play that game with because he's the dude who just never skated at all and then put down his board and kickflip 50-50 the round rail. Like, he's an anomaly where it's like, what the fuck, dude? The dude just skates rarely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Barra's epic, man. So I remember that so much being there in person at the Tampa Pro contest, and I remember also you emerging with like this persona almost in skateboarding. I called you the Puff Daddy of skateboarding, and like, and to qualify that statement, like, skateboarders were like heshers, it was like, oh, we're gnarly, we're thrashers, there was no such thing that I was really aware of in skateboarding of like a skateboarder like flossing, I mean, sure, Tony Hawk had in the end, they showed his Lexus and his nice house and stuff, but there wasn't like it just wasn't a vibe of skateboarding. You were the first one to do like, I'm posing with on the cover with the fucking luxury fucking Mercedes and the crazy exotic animal, and I'm like you were flossing, and that was like that was almost your like niche on it. And then the way that you describe Robin Big came out of this whole thing, I think there's a pretty important piece missing there, which is the first DC video. It came out in 2003, and you had this absolutely fucking genius like sort of a gimmick for your part where you said, dude, fucking skateboarding, fucking security, getting nailed by trying to deal with security. I'm so sick of dealing with security. I got security to deal with security. And that was how Big came into the picture. And it was such a fucking genius thing. It was such an excellent part. That whole DC video was so magnificent. And of course, that served as the proof of concept for what would be the Robin Big show, right? Like that. I mean,
did you basically just show them that as in your pitch? Like, here's what it is?
Man, it was, first of all, on the flossing thing, just to make a note, because it was, boy, you want to ruffle some fucking feathers, you start flossing and skateboarding, right? And it was like,
and now it's the norm. Now
it was like, and it set the stage for this young generation that like they all are cars and watches and everything, but that was like some what the fuck is going on here level shit, and it peaked with the Big Brother fucking cover of fucking putting the Benz on the cover. Now, of course, I bought Ken Block's Benz. I bought, I still have the feeling of driving that thing out of his house when it was the first like mega nice car that I ever got. I'm like, oh, I bought like his iced out Rolex. Like it was like, I got them to make iced out. I went to the jeweler and made an iced out DC ring and was like, we need to make these for everybody. Like this like flossy run. That became sort of this entire thing.
Is this after Pratt or what?
Totally after Pratt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because this was like part of like now
you're reinventing yourself.
Like you and to me, I met this kid who had a billboard on Sunset who picked me up in a 600 S-Class Benz that had a fax machine in it, and I'm like, God damn, this fucking guy. This guy must be the richest guy I've ever met. Like, and he was just like this 19-year-old hustler, right? Who like it affected me in the way of this power of perception, right? Where like you can create this persona that goes way beyond like who you are as a business person or athlete, or so I thought in my as I developed that whole thing, you know. It just got really over the top really fast, especially as it related to like me and Colin and sort of like and Kareem and everybody that really embraced like flossing to like a whole different level. But look, and then with Rob and Big, you know, like there was so much pressure on me on the DC video. Everybody was so gnarly, and I just knew that like, fuck, man, I'm never gonna be able to film a part to sit next to all these guys. Like they're all filming the fucking gnarliest parts. Like, you know, I like to say I've made the most money per trick landed in the history of skateboarding for fucking how many bail photos I've had and how the limited amount of fucking footage I've actually generated. But like I conceptually, as I was like trying to think like, I was like, God, it would be funny to come up with a skit. And then when it was like just the idea of I'm gonna bring a security guard to deal with security guards, just connected so quickly. And then even when we just went to like a security agency in San Diego, and we're like, we're just looking for like a really lovable, like big, cool. They're like, oh, we got the perfect guy.
Wow, that's how you met Big.
Yeah, it was like literally weren't friends at all. It was like a straight like casted from a security agency. And the day we met to shoot it, it was just like instant, like, oh, well, we just instantly were in it and like already like improving and doing the most ridiculous stuff that set the stage. But it was really like, look, me and him I broke my arm one year. And in that era before TV and all that shit, because he rolled with Big Zeus and Big Bam Bam, right? So he had like this trio of mega men, and then we would roll together. So we would roll to Vegas and all put on suits, and fucking they would be like, it would just be us three, and everybody was like convinced I was like some sort of like super wealthy billionaire. You know, like, you know, when we were pitching the show, I was telling them a story of how we went to Vegas and there was a Roy Jones Jr. fight, and I was like, fuck it, like let's just try to get in. So I walked up with all three of them. I said, excuse me, ma'am, I don't have the ticket, but I'm gonna pass if you don't mind. She's like, oh, go right ahead. Right. So I fucking walked.
You don't just have to take it from Rob Dyrdek that there are certain things you can do which will get you special treatment. You can take it from me and my friends at Manscaped that if you groom your balls and your body properly, it's safe to say you might get special treatment from the ladies. And here we are, this close to the holidays, to Christmas. And have you really not taken care of all of your Christmas shopping yet? Well, the good news is that Manscaped is your home for the dopest stocking stuffers. What am I talking about? I'm talking about how much joy it brings dudes to reach into their stocking and pull out the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant. I mean, that's a good laugh for everybody. And they got the Crop Reviver Ball Toner. I mean, these are the under the waist grooming products that every man needs. And you can hurry up and get them right now in time for the holidays to stuff those stockings. Okay, so here's how we get them. We go to manscaped.com/Stevo, and that takes care of your holiday shopping. Plus, you get 20% off your order and free shipping. That's 20% off your order and free shipping. Manscaped.com/Stevo. Now, let's hear about special treatment.
It's like just straight on that power of perception. Like we all fucking roll down. This shit's working. And I fucking walk all the way down to like 4 seats from the fucking ring. I said, ma'am, if you don't mind, we're going to sit right here. She said, oh, go right ahead. And we just fucking watched the Roy Jones Jr. fight, all 4 of us. Yeah. And chicks kept coming up to me like, hey, can I give him my number? And it's like just because it was like one little dude surrounded by these 3 giant guys.
That's fucking epic.
That is how we sort of positioned and tried to drive the show as like, hey, The Odd Couple, you know, even when I took the show to pitch it in, it was like I took in the song, People, Let Me Tell You About My Best Friend. But they wouldn't buy that show, right? It was when MTV was still in like, we need scripts. And, you know, and even Jeff wasn't really connected to being able to ultimately write scripts and that type of production. And they ended up buying the show, Rob Dyrdek's Rules to Success. And rule number 1 was always surround yourself with good people. That was the pilot. And this was Big Black was like the person you surround yourself with, right? It was so whack. And we shot the pilot and it was shit, except for when I go off script. And we were going to the script, and then we started freestyling a little bit about where he said he could outrun me. If we were in prison, he could catch me. I'm like, you ain't fucking catching me in prison, first of all. And then it turned into, you couldn't even fucking, like, you couldn't beat me in a foot race. And then it's like, let's fucking go race. Then it turned, that freestyle moment became sort of the anchor of like, okay, we'll let these guys get off, like stop forcing them to be in a script and let them go. And then Shane Nickerson came over because he was a story editor from the Jessica Simpson show. And then he pieced it together and was like, you need to just let these guys be themselves. And then it circled all the way back to Rob and Big for the pilot, you know.
So
Wow.
you didn't have to make a pilot for the Rob Dyrdek's Rules of Success.
We shot it, and then midway through and all the pickups, they reshaped it into
Okay.
Rob and Big, right?
Okay.
And then it was originally Rob and Big Black, and the network wouldn't let it be Big Black. And it was like a black woman that was running the network at the time. And like, you know, we had to call her, and she was like, absolutely not. And in the beginning, like when we would hear Rob and Big, you know, it'd be like if Jackass was called Jack A. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like, I guess, right? Like, you know, like because we only knew it, like he was Big Black, he wasn't Big, right? So it was like super strange for us in the beginning, where it was like, oh, Robin Big sounds so weird.
And so that, if I'm right, Robin Big came out, was it 2007? Maybe 2006?
It was like right at the end of 2006, so right in 2007.
Right. And so that's when your shit starts really popping off.
Yeah, and well, look, you want to know what I also did is I saw what was happening to all of BAM's product.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So so I was like, God damn it, man. So I did a deal with DC, renegotiated for a higher royalty. I restructured my board deal with Alien Workshop to be like, give me $5 a board and give me $2,000 a month instead of $2 a board and $5,000 a month. Like restructure with them. Started Rogue Status with Travis Barker. Did position myself to have all of these sort of opportunities if it worked, that then I would be able to capitalize on it based off of what I saw, what was happening with BAM. And then boom, it just exploded overnight, you know.
I mean, BAM set the precedent right there. When you've already got the revenue stream from the pro skateboarding, and then you attach a rocket ship to it with the mainstream TV show, then you're off to the races. And it's crazy that the industry standard for royalties to the pro skateboarder is $2 a board. That's fucking...
What does a board cost
this day.
normally?
A board costs... like,
17, well...
17 to make to sell or whatever.
Yeah.
35 is 30, no, maybe like 40, 50. I don't know. It's been so long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Worst thing I ever did was buy a skateboard company.
Oh, yeah?
Look, I bought that. I spent $4 million when I bought that company, and
You bought Alien Workshop?
Yeah, and I bought DNA Distribution. It was such a nightmare of like just like the skateboarding loves misery. Like nobody wants anything to like be bit, like just insanity that I ended up giving the company back to the original founders. And then having it, I bought a bunker, which I still own to this day, in Dayton, Ohio, on a full military grade bunker on 6 acres of land. And I let them put the company back into that and just was like, all right, I'm out. Like, and that was like my last skate business before I sold Street League last year. was like the final time of me as a capitalist and someone that fucking loves creating venture and making money, of trying to instill that spirit into skateboarding, which it's not meant to be, you know what I mean? And from flossing fucking in 2003 to fucking start, you know, everything I did was, how do we make skateboarding mega? And it was literally not ever meant to be, you know?
Man. So,
well, I got a question. You have this entrepreneurial mind, but it sounds like you were kind of thinking that way before the hypnotism, right? You were saying you had like a hip hop label and different things you were doing. That's pre-hypnotism?
Oh yeah. I was raised by entrepreneur wolves, right? Like all the people, like, you know, the guys that started the Alien Workshop, I've known since they were 13, since I was 13. Jimmy George in Dayton, Ohio. He's one of the original founding partners. He built all these different companies. I skated for his skate shop and saw him build all these companies. When I moved to California, I built my first company, Orion Trucks, with Costin and Guy and Kareem.
That's still going strong, right?
Yeah, like I was reading the book, The Orion Prophecies, back then. It was about, you know, all this fucking messaging coming from the fucking Orion Prophecies, and I hand drew the logo, and me and Kareem and Costin were the original partners in it with Tracker, which was also like a pretty big deal of like, you know, all the venture NorCal guys were so pissed at me that I would do a company with Tracker. And that was the first company that I had built from idea stage to market when I was 17, right?
Wow.
And then I was building company after company with that shoe money, all types of stuff. But I didn't understand business because I was someone that quit high school at 16 and didn't have a family that understood like business. I was just around entrepreneurs, so I figured, shit, I'm gonna do this too. You know?
Right. I think the answer to Paul's question might be yes. Rob was starting a lot of businesses before the hypnotist, but a number of the businesses were losing money. Right. So it's good.
Yeah.
Look,
like what?
That's how you learn, though.
I spent many years of businesses. I don't think I really figured out how to be the type of business assassin that I am today. You know, not even 5-6 years ago. You know what I mean? Deep into my late 30s, into my 40s. You know?
Right. So you go from Rob and Big, then you got the Fantasy Factory. And what was the? Do you still have the Fantasy Factory, or is that?
No.
Yeah.
And you know, for that whole thing was ultimately, I was so sick of fucking shooting TV in my house.
Yeah.
And was so fucking sick of people coming to my house all the time, you know, and it being in that zone. But what I realized is, God, I just made so much money from this platform. And, you know, they wanted me to do a 4th season of Rob and Big, but at that point, me and him were like beefing so hard, you know, mainly on this idea that we felt kind of bound to each other, it lost our sort of identities, right? Like, and neither of us wanted to do the show anymore, but they had offered me at that time, to give you context, $125,000 an episode to either do another season of Rob and Big or do my own show. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to do my own show. But then I realized, man, quit being a fucking pussy, man. Like, you just go do another show. So I wrote the concept of called it Fantasy Life. But then I realized, like, no, I need to be like get a building and become like Willy Wonka, and I'm gonna call that shit the Fantasy Factory. But I would only do it if they also gave me my integration rights, so I could sell the platform when I did it. So then I was able to do deals with like Chevy and Microsoft and use the actual platform to sell the advertising on, which really blew everything up to like an even crazier level.
Wow. Let me take you back to you said they offered $125,000 an episode. How much of that is talent fee versus producer fee? Because
I want to say
as a
at
talent,
that time, 25 of it was producer, right? Like, because back then, you know, like producer was still, for me, at least in that standpoint, before I built Super Jacket, producer was more what
vanity.
they gave us as talent, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
where they would just Because what did you get at the peak of Wild Boys? Did
Oh
you
my
ever
God,
get-
we had the same from the whole fucking time. Pontius and I each got 15 grand an episode.
right? So it's like think how nuts that was. Like, and it was like, damn, fuck it, I'm gonna do. And I was like, fuck it. Like, I spent 750 G's to build out the Fantasy Factory. And then midway through that season, they were like, this shit sucks. We're not even going to air this shit. And I'm like, God damn it. What the fuck? Like, and
what was the rent
in
for the
Bahamas.
place?
What's up?
What was the rent for it? It was like 30 grand a month?
35 grand a month just to like have that place. You know what I mean? And then I fucking, it was fucking balls to the wall. No, like, I built the place completely out, fucking skate park, full concrete fucking skate park in a building, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Super over the top. But they tried to make it Robin Big with my cousin Drama, rather than integrating all the people that were in the business side of my business, my manager and sort of my lawyer and artists and everyone involved in my companies. And when I went back and looked at some of the cuts, the very first cuts where it integrated all of them, like, we repitched the show of like, this is a group, not just me and my cousin. We got to quit trying to make Robin big. And that's when it became what it became. But that's now I'm doing fucking stunts, right? Because I was never a stunt guy. I'm a business guy. But I wrote a bull in Robin Big and started to open up the juice a little bit, right? And then in that first episode, Tremaine, I was making a joke about getting attacked by a shark, and Tremaine was like, oh, I got a place that'll do it in the Bahamas. And so next thing you know, I'm fucking in a chain suit in the fucking 60 feet under fucking water with a fucking piece of tuna on my arm, thinking like, do I really want to fucking lose function over my arm? This isn't even funny.
Yeah,
I feel like you got to be careful what you say around Jeff Tremaine. Is that true?
Yeah.
Like,
Look,
he'll get an idea.
was that the
That's what I
blue?
say.
Was it called the Blue Cove or the Blue Lagoon or whatever?
Yeah. What is that? Yeah,
Yeah, we went there in
Blue
Wild
Cove,
Boys.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah, sharks, man. Sharks have been my thing. And you're right, they're not even fucking funny.
Yeah, hey, but diving. Look, even did you ever go dive with the great whites in Guadalupe? You ever go
Not
to
Guadalupe. We did it in South Africa.
South Africa.
Yeah. And
Was it? Did you jump on the back, or was that Pontius?
it was both of us. We didn't jump on the back because if you jump on the shark, that would have been like cruelty to animals. So what we did was we jumped next to it. We landed right in between the shark and the cage, and then climbed in the cage.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
So fantasy. How many seasons did you do Fantasy Factory?
I did 8
8
because
seasons, man.
I'm, even in that zone, like. And I did the final season, and then I ended up doing this mega deal with Ridiculousness, and they're like, the only way we'll do it is if you do another season of Fantasy Factory. So now I did the fucking final season. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I'm sure. Are you filming Jackass now? Are you even allowed to talk about it? But I'm not sure it feels that way to you now. You might love the shit. But that fucking final season, when I was fucking doing stuff, like, it was like, oh my God, I'm here again. Like, it was like on some, like, get the fuck out of here. And the final thing I did is I jumped a monster truck 40 feet through an exploding RV at Monster Jam in Anaheim. And then got out and stood on top of that truck in front of all those fucking people, like, my final scene ever. And then that night, my girlfriend at the time's dad was there, and I asked him for her hand in marriage. And then that was basically like the transition point of like, all right, I'm this era is officially fucking over. I will never do a stunt again. I'm ready to be a dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. And that's why I feel so honored to have you on this fucking podcast with us, because really since then you've become a pretty elusive guy, man, right? Like, you're not like really out. You're not doing interviews and out in the, like, right? It's
I mean, I stopped doing it altogether. You know what I mean? Like, I do some business stuff here and there, but, and they forced me to do press. one time. You know, I had to do like a radio tour or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because look, for me, blessing that I get to shoot so much ridiculousness and what a instrumental part of like my business career, because I was able to build and sell the production company connected to it. You know, I shoot 168 episodes a year. I'm shooting 250 a year for the next 2 years before I double peace sign moonwalk out of here. But you would have no idea. Right? They air the shit so much. You'd have maybe he shoots 30 of a year. Maybe he shoots 40. Who fucking knows? They just rerun them all the time. So
it's insane. It's the biggest show on MTV, hands down by far. Right.
But you want to know, but the why we're able to make it so successful is since I own the production, I was able to negotiate the unit economics of the cost of the show with the head of the network to be able to make it super profitable for both of us, to where I could get them to order 168 at a time instead of ordering 30 at a time, right?
Or 8 at a time, like Wild Boys.
Yeah, or 8. You know what I'm saying?
8. Robin Big was 8, right?
Oh my God! Like they wanted me to do a business show, and I fucking when I think about shooting like a season order of fucking like 10 episodes, I can't even It's like, what am I doing? I don't want to fucking bother try to figure out another fucking show that like. Nobody wants to see me doing a business show on fucking MTV, and I just bail. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's epic. Now, as I understand it, because I remember having a business meeting with some fucking guy that was like talking about Facebook monetization. Everybody who's in there with the social media, we're gonna fucking make you this amount of money, or they're just all. It just seems shady to me every fucking time. And I'm like, I've worked so hard, like having a genuine, authentic fucking line of communication with my fans, that if I start fucking farming it out to people who aren't me, it's just gonna spoil everything. Like I just won't do it. And I've turned down, like, I think insane amounts of money, just like favoring my integrity, for giving people what comes straight from me, which I deem to be quality shit that I made, Yeah. But I had a meeting with one of these people, and they were like, "Oh, dude, you don't get it, dude. Rob Dyrdek, he fucking took his ridiculousness thing and then added in a new layer where anybody can try to submit their video to be on ridiculousness, and what they do is they upload their video to Rob Dyrdek's fucking little platform thing, and in uploading the video they click right here, like, I gave Rob Dyrdek the rights to this video in order for it. So then he's like, this is a whole other like area of business that Rob Dyrdek has, like, aside from the show, is that he just owns all of this fucking video content. Like, is that right?
That's correct. But look, it's not nearly. He's halfway behind hustling you, because it's a business, right? Like, it's not we have giant teams of people that are sourcing that and then getting the rights. Like, it's not as simple as like, I'm sitting back.
Well, right. For sure. And when you do that, it's not like an exclusive thing, right? It's like I have the non-exclusive right to the footage.
Yeah, non-exclusive. It's just really managing it. It gives us a lot of leverage on what it is. And then we're just building this sort of deep library of content, Yeah. But again, like, even that aspect, that was, when I sold Super Jacket, that included that, and part of that deal is they bought Street League at the same time, right? So really all those companies, I built all those companies just to be sold, and they all have since been acquired.
Is it okay to ask what you sold Street League for? And before we even get there, to let people know what it is, this is like the gold standard of skateboarding competition, right? You got the X Games, you got the Dew Tour, and you got the SLS skateboarding.
Yes. And really the vision was like, how do we make, that was, if Tampa was the chorus, then it was, $25,000 first prize. Our first prize was $150,000, and we were pouring concrete fucking skate plazas in arenas with lighting packages and fucking jumbotrons, trying to fill arenas to turn skateboarding into the NBA.
Yeah.
And it never got the audience of the scale of the crossover like a UFC got, right? Where to me, it was like just a matter of time before it dips into that zone, and never caught quite at that scale. So we didn't really sell it for anything significant compared to the production company, right? I just more or less rolled them in. But, you know, when it's all said and done, it could be there's an earn out connected to it. But hopefully it lands in like the 150 million range at the very end. You know what I mean? Something in that sort of zone is sort of the goal. But every time I build a company, I build every company with the intent of trying to sell it between 75 and 150. And we've been able to do it 5 times, right? In the first few years of using this system of creating it. Some smaller, some didn't work out. Some happened really fast, but it's really just getting better and better at being able to do that is my life's mastery at this point.
Fucking A, dude.
Can I get Dr. Pratt's number, please?
Yeah, wow.
What the fuck?
Hey, we're going to fuck you. Those nails aren't going to be bitten and you're fucking getting rich.
All right. I love
Dude,
it.
we're trying our asses off over here, man. And I think that you kind of you hit it on the head when you said, you know, talking about filming Jackass. Like, maybe you like that shit. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm trying my ass off to like get to work smarter, to, you know, build things. Like we just got our first warehouse, you know, to set up our own fulfillment center so that we can let the third party fulfillment center fuck off. And you know, like if we can run smoothly with just my merch operation, then, you know, hallelujah, because now we can start taking on other clients and really expand and get in this fulfillment game. And I think that represents like the first initiative that really takes away from just attention whoring, you know, because I've been a fucking professional attention whore for my whole career. And and to try to become a businessman in a way that's sort of savvy.
And look, and I'll tell you what it boils down to is the life that you want to live. It's the lifestyle, right? It's like you got to put a target on here's what it costs to live the life that I want to live. And then how do I create a sustainable way to produce that income that gives me peace, right? You know, because it doesn't matter how much money I have, I still keep my expenses within the range of the money I make from the buildings I've invested in, right? It's a tax-free cash-on-cash dividend. Like, I don't even account for like TV, business, anything. I look at my life through that, and then I build a comfortable lifestyle through that passive income as part of sort of a plan. That's what I needed to kind of have that peace so I can still have all the energy to achieve these big things without ever risking the way that I live or compromising that peace that comes along with success, if you will, you know? And I think once you land on exactly what that is, and then you hunt to find the fulfillment center that produces the support of that anything else you want to do is gravy.
Yeah.
Then you'll find, especially when it's not related to you having to fucking go hurt yourself. Right.
Sure.
Like, and that's what I love even so much about the buildings that I invest in is because it has nothing to do with anything that I do. Right. So it's like, it's passive, totally separate. Right. Sure. So it's like, I could stop everything and I live this way for the rest of my life. Right. Like that sort of peace of mind that comes with it that has nothing to do with my talent or my time. Right.
Or your reputation or you as a commodity in the entertainment industry. You know,
right. You don't have to be pressed to promote it either.
There's a lot of pressure.
Well, yeah, look, I stopped doing brand deals. You know, I like when DC went out, I never did another shoe deal. I never did another energy drink deal. What I was able to walk away from, 5-6 years ago was also like needing to be an endorser. Right. So it's like now I don't fucking got to go to photo shoot. I literally live the most balanced, extraordinary life of like where I do whatever I want and based off of what gives me energy, right? Versus the idea of like, damn, I gotta go fucking do a Monster Energy fucking 7-Eleven photo shoot. I gotta fucking, some fucking, I gotta go to a fucking Zoomies for a fucking signing. You know what I mean? Like that shit like was like, and even in that era, I got this crazy offer from Airwalk, right? And this big licensing group owned Airwalk. And it was like, man, I stood on the edge because it was so much money. And then I was like, God damn it, Rob, like, you're gonna like you've already cleaned yourself up of like doing like stuff that bastardizes skateboarding, and you're gonna fucking try to fucking go make a business deal with Airwalk. Like, you fucking can't do it. That was like the big turning point of where I never did another personal endorsement deal again. And now everything that I ever showcase is just all shit that companies I started, right? That I just promote like things that I built, rather than doing any type of endorsement work, because that shit just wore me out.
Yeah, dude. Fuck, man. We're making progress, dude, because I spent so much of the last 10 years, Scott and I, fucking on tour, fucking with the comedy clubs, and it's like, this grind of Groundhog's Day over and over, constantly traveling to go do this, and I love it. At the same time, it's a grind, man. It's not working smart.
But it's not just that. Yeah. It's like you got to wake up at 5 a.m. for the press after we land at 2, and then you get to take a nap before we do shows. And then fucking do 2 meet and greets that night of 600 people.
Yeah, it's rough, dude. It's rough.
When I launched Street League, right, not only did I finance and build this baby, my dream to create the NBA of skateboarding, but DC and Monster underwrit it in the beginning, right? So I would have to fucking go into the towns where we would have where the event was, Seattle, Las Vegas, wherever. I have to spend 10 days there doing like every single news station, every single radio show, go to every single skate shop, every single fucking Zoomies, every fucking 7-Eleven. You fucking like, So that like was like, I mean, that twist. So I feel you on, it's way different than just showing up and performing, where it's just like the chaos.
Yeah, people don't know the behind the scenes. I mean, meanwhile, you just made $3 million while you did this podcast, and we're over here,
just grinding. We're still grinding, dude. We're still. No wonder that's why he's biting his fucking nails.
Dude, look at the fucking gray hair I have. It's crazy, dude.
Oh my god, dude. Well, fuck. Like, is there anything that you're even trying to promote? Like, can we?
Do you have any more?
And Zoomies.
Yeah. Do you have any more world records coming up, or what?
Nah, look, those are all done. You know what I mean? I tried when I got all those like 25 records in a day. All I wanted was the record for the most records in a day, because I'm like, shit, nobody's gonna beat that, right? And they wouldn't give me that. But no, those are just, I hold on to those near and dear to my heart. And then, really, I launched a comfort footwear brand this week with John Buscemi called Luso Cloud. I have a nootropic superfood that I launched with
footwear. Yeah. We're trying to get footwear going with customized slip-ons. Vans won't do it. We got we got a built from scratch company that's super cheap, but we want like a reputable, like, fucking this company makes it. Like, can we get in the business of customized slip-ons?
I don't believe this company would make sense for that. Right?
Okay.
They're like premium, expensive.
Right.
Stuff.
That makes sense.
I'm not saying there's not an opportunity there, but to us, and to let me tell you how I look at it differently. Right, is I looked at Uggs, I looked at Birkenstocks, and I looked at Crocs. Together, they are $3 billion in revenue. And the idea ultimately is there an opportunity to take market share by creating a modern, cooler version of that? And John Buscemi, who's like a giant footwear designer and cultural, like, streetwear icon, like, had the vision for what it could be to create that. Then we went out and built it from scratch, right? With the intent of driving it to, 50 million in revenue and try to sell it for a couple $100 million, right? Like, that's the way of kind of looking at it, versus like, how do you make the slip-on that becomes like how do you design it in a way that's unique to you and your only version that's sold through your merch and your zone, so you can go out and get it outsourced for $6 and then you can sell it for $25 and get people to wear it all the time because you made it a little bit different than what the market's offering. You know what I mean? What's your unique value proposition, Steve-O?
Well, dude, it's the shoes. We've got this image of me fucking duct taped to a wall, so I'm actually duct taped to the shoe. It's pretty killer.
Okay.
It looks dope as fuck.
You want to invest in this company? Or?
I mean, whatever.
Man, it's like, for some reason, my mind flashed to him getting kicked in the bare balls by Knoxville. And then I just pictured like him getting kicked in the bare balls with himself taped to his shoe. Is like immediately that just went like flashed through my mind. And I'm still scarred. By the showing me your bucket list of skydive beat
Skydiving,
Okay. I'm still scarred. Like in the sense of, you gotta check it out, dude. And
thank God I did that on TV. Yeah. I wanted to ask you too. I've had the honor of being on Ridiculousness 2 separate times. Who's been on it the most times? Has anybody been on it 3 times?
I think probably like Brendan Schaub's probably been on the most. As far as like deep, like multiple. But some people have been on 2 or 3 times, but nobody like deeply significant.
So I'm due for a return.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like we should just have you on like every
whenever
few
you want.
months. You know what I mean?
It's always a
whenever
good time,
you're in the
man.
neighborhood. Hey, how many submissions do you get a day on your website for the videos?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't take submissions, right? So like we can't. Like, so there's a team of people that just basically follows everything happening on the internet and then sources to who posted it, then goes and gets the source footage.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because there's the what I was saying about that, and I'll tell you what, I when it comes to that weird fucking internet Facebook hustle, everybody's making all the money, you do it. Shaq's making $500 grand a month, right? Whatever the fucking sell is. Yeah, like I never did one. I always felt the same way, that it's just like, God, it's just like and it only seems to last like a year, you know what I mean? 6 months, whatever it is, like, but that's what I was only saying there's only a half truth in that, where we don't take the submissions.
Right. Sounds like you invite people. It's invitation only. You're invited to come.
We gotta go find them. They post it anywhere. We fucking gotta get all the way to the source,
then when you do find them, you invite them to upload to your little platform and click, I give you the rights. And
Oh no. We send you an email and you send us the footage. You know what I'm saying? We send you a contract, you send us the footage. So we have the raw footage. Yeah.
All right. That's cool, man. Yeah. How's the this pig out, this vegan pork rinds business?
Yeah, so pig out's one of our shining stars of our portfolio. Just closed a round of 9 million raised at nearly 100 million valuation. The beauty of this particular build was it's just 25-year vegans. One of the chefs from the Impossible Burger and I
had dinner with that guy, and he
venture capitalist, right? Yeah, and they just make incredible tasting snacks that happen to be plant-based, right? And it's really that idea of like they're innovating in plant-based, and when they brought it to me originally, because almost everything I do is from the idea stage. Their concept was fresh soul, and I was like, man, fuck that! Like, you guys are so innovative, like you invented a pigless bacon chip. You have a pigless pork rind. Like, it needs to be more aggressive. Like, everything in this space is all soft. It's Hampton Creek and everything's all soft. And I was like, we need to call it like Vigilante, and then he came and hit me. He's like, what do you think about Pig Out? And I was like, oh shit, that's fucking aggressive. And then I'm like, damn. And then it's like, okay. And then we could be outstanding foods, and it could be pig out, then chicken out, then steak out, and all those things. And then, that launch, it was difficult to launch with the pigless bacon chip because it was just a one of one, never been done before. And then when we pivoted into the pigless pork rind, it exploded, right? And then we just launched takeout, which is like a puff that has all the nutrients of an entire meal and like basically a delicious snack. That's like literally eating a balanced meal and a snack. Again, later, goodbye. Like, it's super innovative, amazing tasting. And hopefully, that one will get, who knows at what level that gets acquired at, or we potentially might go public with that one, which is a whole different ballgame.
That movie Ted, where they like try to sneak into Tom Brady's room to get his super sperm, like I felt like they should have been sneaking into your room to get your super sperm, dude.
Oh man!
What the
or
fuck?
Send me on a Steve-O bucket list trip.
Yeah.
Floating fucking out there, fucking trying to
just get the cup while you're in the air.
Dude. Well, dude, let me say it again that I understand that you've kind of just fucking done away with being the face of shit, like sure you show up and record ridiculousness, but other than that, I get the sense that you're a very elusive, private guy. And, man, it just means the fucking world to me that we got to do this with you, man. It's like, I even think of it like, well, what does Dyrdek get out of this? He's not really permitted. It's just like we got to hang out with the bro.
He's going to send us a bill later.
I mean, we just got to hang out. We got to hang out with you.
I just made $200,000.
These lawyers are going to get it out of us.
Dude,
but look, for me, I just love... I know in this format, it just gives me a chance to, we know each other, but we've never had a conversation. And I know how much I'd enjoy just a great conversation. And that's ultimately what I get out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
just a chance to connect with you after knowing you for so many years.
I think that's fair to say, man. Like, we've always been orbiting around each other. We've definitely had a history together. But yeah, this is our first time just like sitting to bro down for an hour. And I fucking really appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, no doubt.
And if there's anything else we can draw, like your Instagram, your fucking Facebook, like just fucking everybody hop on the Dyrdek train if you're not already on it, because if you're not, you're blowing it. Yeah, and eat that pig out shit. I bought a bag of pig out at Whole Foods. Walked out of there just fucking scarfing it down. I was like, go Dyrdek. Fucking
it's tasty, man.
I'm on board.
Addictively delicious, as we like to say.
Yeah. So yeah, man, we'll let you get back to your day, and congrats on your family, the fucking just being a family guy, like living the life, dude. Fucking just setting it up, dude. Like you're inspiring, dude, and I'm way behind, dude, but I'm fucking hustling to catch up.
Yeah, we got to see Dr. Pratt.
Yeah, let's go get hypnotized.
Hey, go to Pratt, but build a plan to get there. You know what I mean? Start at the end. What do I want it to look like in the end? And map all those steps out and go get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I did
Before you start, win. Before you start, win.
Yeah, dude.
Soundbite. We're going to take that right there.
I fucking love it, man. Hey, congrats on everything, dude, and thank you for this.
All right. Be good,
all right,
yeah,
brother.
later, dude.
Right
Rob.
on. Aside from the fact that talking to Rob Dyrdek makes me feel really unsuccessful, that was great, huh? And man, I love you guys who stick around to the very end. You know it. You know I love you. And you want to talk about a stocking stuffer? Dude, we got our hot sauce on Amazon. And you know this close to the holidays that, like, you better be ordering Amazon Prime. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure everyone else gets it there. But Amazon Prime? Come on. Get yourself a bottle of Steve-O's hot sauce for your butthole at Amazon. Yeah, dude. It would mean a lot to us because we're trying to, like, show Amazon that we're the real deal. So help us out. And I love you. Thank you so much.